Welcome to Rebel Nation, a podcast that covers it all. From politics to entertainment, we've got you covered. Warmed, entertained, and engaged. Who knows, you might learn something new.
So if you're ready to challenge the norms and ignite the conversations,
stay right here and become a rebel. Join the nation. Become a rebel.
And then you got UPS going on strike, which, I remember back in 97 when UPS went on strike. It's like everybody's wanting more money. But, it's like during pre-pandemic, there wasn't even a question about getting, all we were cared about was like our tax return. Then pandemic rolled around. We were getting stimulus checks. Some of us got 400, some of us got 6, some of us got 12. I don't know exactly how much the biggest one was, but and then they started furloughing people and laying people off, which then you got your unemployment check. And on top of that, the government was paying you an extra $600 or $1,200 or whatever it was. I didn't get that privilege because I still had to go to work. But yeah, and now they're wondering why. I don't care what you say. Somebody said there and says, I seen the other day where they said unemployment's at its lowest rate. Unemployment's only at its lowest rate is because people just gave up trying to look for jobs and employers gave up trying to post for jobs. They're just doing with what they got. It's that easy. But yeah, everybody's wanting free money. It's just like the reparation thing. Everybody's wanting free money. They don't want to work for it. Which, I wish I had free money too, but a lot of people say doing this, content creating and doing these shows and everything else that people do, it's free money. It's not. There's a lot of work behind it. More work than I've ever done in my life.
Well, yeah, and there's a lot, and that can go into a pop culture conversation because of how people are reacting to content creation in general. There's a lot of weird things in content creation, but I have noticed a lot of this economy situations, even, again, it's water falling down to the people that thought it would never happen to them, that it couldn't be them, that they couldn't be hurt by this, that they were set for life, you know what I mean, with their chat of, less than 100 or so. Or honestly, anybody who is content creating and just a streamer only and is still doing below less than 1,000 viewers, you're doing it all for naught. And but with that being said, I showed you how Biden had lied to us about how the wages are absolutely shit. He got absolutely fact checked and wrecked over it, as he should, because he lied. But because honestly, we're $2 below what we should actually be averaging now with the uptick in what minimum wage has been. Yep. Why are we're actually we should actually be around $13 an hour, and realistically with the actual dollar amount and wages that we were just reading about, we're only at $11 an hour. So people like me, yes, I make $12.15 an hour working at a vape shop. All right, that seems like that's decent for a state like Missouri that is a low cost living state. $12 an hour is fine. All right. But when I go to the grocery store and when I'm doing my regular shopping and getting a regular meals for me and my husband for a week's worth of shopping used to only cost $75. Now it's like $130.
Oh God. Yeah. Tell me about it.
So it's increased exponentially. And of course, with that going in and me not making a whole lot of money, and that's with everybody else. So we got pay raises it wasn't just cents. We're talking whole dollars have gone out up on a lot of products. And it's not just wants, it's our necessities. It's very uncomfortable not to use toilet paper. You're going to want to eat real meat in your diet. You talk about it. If you have animals, you're going to want to feed your animals. Animals may be a luxury, but some people have animals for protection. They have them for assistance. They have them for all types of needs. Okay. So again, you're taking away the freedom of people. This has been the most oppressive government I feel like I've ever witnessed in my lifetime. We are financially oppressed. We honestly are democratically oppressed. We have really no republic. We're really not represented at all. So I mean, it's a really odd time to be alive, man.
Yeah.
Really odd time to be alive.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking about that the other day at work. It's just like, going back and looking at the way things were, it was so much easier back. I want to go back to, I really do. I want to go back to 18 and start over. But, we were talking earlier. It's just like, if you go
But
back
would
and
you want to go back at 18? The thing is, we always say that, but we never specify. You'd always want to go back with the knowledge that you have now.
yeah,
But you wouldn't
exactly.
have that knowledge
Yeah.
without the experiences. So it's like,
Wait a
man, you
minute.
really never can go back in time.
Time travel don't exist. Come on. The,
I
the
will
Simpsons,
never
the
believe in
Simpsons,
time travel, but
The Simpsons can time travel. We can time travel too.
maybe one day, but I absolutely cannot. Like, that is my worst movie genre when anybody goes into time travel and tries to, like, explain how it's supposed to be done. I'm like, "Oh, here we go again. All the theories on how time travel is supposed to work." And it's like, gosh, everything is just such a it doesn't make sense at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So it's
Oh
like
yeah.
I always hate time travel storylines. I have such a pet peeve for it, man, because so many people love it, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, nope. Kind of like
Yeah.
right now, nerd moment. Exo Primal just came out, free on the Xbox Game Pass. All you gamers out there, woot woot. Um, but one of the main things is they transport dinosaurs into the future, and the dinosaur's blood, when you kill them in your exosuits, that's actually used as a power source to like get hundreds and thousands of miles to the gallon in like your spaceships and shit. Okay. But I'm like,
Okay.
hold on, wait a minute. We're pulling all of these wait, again, the taboo in this timeline, you know what I mean? When you actually end up outsourcing fast.
True. Yeah,
So it's
you
like,
would think.
I hate time travel, man. It doesn't make sense.
No, it
You'll
never
never be
has.
able to convince me.
I mean, I have a pretty far out there mind reach when it comes to certain things, but time travel, I don't know. I just don't see it. I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't be possible, but with the technology we have now, I don't see it being possible unless there's something they're just hiding from us, which very could possibly be. But speaking of time travel, I don't know if y'all heard the UPS is getting ready to go on strike. They have like 14 days left to come up with a agreement. I guess the full time staff has already got a contract in place. Part timers are what they're fighting for now, and I guess all the full timers are standing for the full timer or the part timers. But it's like, because I remember the 1997 one. I was actually driving a truck back in 1997, and it was kind of funny because we used to haul farm parts, John Deere parts. For those of you don't know who John Deere is, like, they used to just do tractors and stuff like that. But we used to haul John
They
Deere
pretty much
parts,
got
everything now.
replaced through Stahl, right?
Yeah,
STAHL, the orange ones.
yeah, pretty much. But back in '97, John Deere was still a big thing. So we were hauling John Deere parts out from Colorado into Kansas, and the John Deere dealership that I had to go to was behind the UPS sorting station in one of the towns I went to. And you pull up and you have to go through the back parking lot of the UPS sorting station to get to the John Deere dealership. And of course, when the '97 strike was happening, they were all out there picketing and everything else. And it's just like, they stopped me and it's like, dude, I'm not going to UPS. I'm going right back there. I sit there but yeah, they were really adamant about people crossing their picket lines. But yeah, so the fact is, I mean, I understand, long hours, especially during holiday seasons. But I can kind of see their point in striking for the fact because of the part-time. Like I said, I have a friend of mine that just started with UPS about a year ago. She started as a holiday part-timer and got pulled into full-time, but she worked part-time hours, or she was classified as part-time and worked full-time hours for, like, I think all the way up until here recently when she got part-time, and then now she's in a supervisory position. But the fact is, if they don't come up with a contract, I think I looked it up the other night. If they don't come up with a contract, they only get like $195 a week if it goes on strike. So they're losing, and plus they're losing all their benefits. Their benefits get suspended and everything else while they're on strike. Um, so I mean, it's crazy. I mean, so that's my question. So is it really worth to be a part of a union just to get a few extra bucks an hour, or I don't know. I've never been part of a union, so I don't know how. Especially one like Teamsters, because Teamsters don't mess around.
I was about to say, latest update. Teamsters out here saying we told the White House, and I use this analogy throughout our negotiations. This is coming from O'Brien, the Teamsters president, Sean O'Brien. I use this analogy throughout our negotiations, throughout our rallies and practice pickets, that we have taken a strong position with the White House that, my neighborhood where I grew up in Boston, if two people had a disagreement and you had nothing to do with it, you just kept walking. So
Yeah.
Teamsters is asking the White House not to intervene in the UPS workers strike.
Well, see, because
They're feeling very into themselves.
well, no, because they know how the. Well,
They're
see, you
strong
you
arming.
you remember when
Strong arming.
the railroad went on strike here not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
President Biden stepped in, and the White House did, or the Biden administration, I don't know. But anyway, somebody from the White House stepped in, and they kind of like messed everything up. I mean, to the point now where there's still their negotiations. They didn't strike, but they didn't get anything that they asked for because the government stepped in and basically was a mediator for them and negotiated for them. And so I can kind of see the point why the Teamsters don't want any government influence on this, just because
Yeah.
they screwed up with the railroad, because the railroad still didn't get everything they asked for, just because Biden sat there and says, you got to go back. You can't stop the rails. Which you can't.
Well, I mean, they
You stop
apparently
the
still have
rails.
until July 31st for this,
Yeah.
by the way. So just a quick pen in that date to remember that. So if we have to come back to this.
Yeah, because they're saying, there's 34,000 UPS workers that will be affected. And it's one of the largest strikes.
And I
If it
get
does
it.
go
One of
in.
the things that is in here, especially for the full-time workers that I saw in here, I was like, okay, I'm with them on this. It says, what I was saying, like, they don't need side hustles, they need real wages, which is
Yeah.
true. Because I mean, a UPS worker, they work, honestly, their hours are very similar. If not, they work more than the United States Postal Service, who gets a fuck ton of national holidays.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, UPS works a lot. It's kind of like Amazon. And I get it. They don't want the government getting involved. And I can understand in some places why not. Um, I know why Amazon has never wanted the government involved, because they still want to treat their employees like shit and get away with it. But at the same time, nothing has ever been good when it gets subsidized by the government. That's why we now have the fourth branch of government, which is a security state that are unelected officials.
Yeah.
But you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah. Because I mean, what you would think, because I didn't even know that UPS was that big. Is it says UPS does 37% of the deliveries in the market revenue. FedEx has 33, UPS Postal Service does 17, and Amazon only does 12.
so you see what I'm saying? Like, this would be huge. A lot of people use UPS, and I mean, they are like one of the oldest other mailing services, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how old UPS is. I mean, I know that's like a quick Google search, but like, they're pretty effing old in comparison to all the rest of them. I know they're really used a lot because FedEx, honestly, I think when you really compare the prices, sometimes they come out really a lot cheaper than FedEx.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And what they can decently promise most of the time, it's good. So, I mean, there you go. There's definitely a reason why we'd look at an economic crisis. And we're literally less than 6 months from Christmas,
Yeah.
and really not that far along from when everybody's gonna expecting things. And didn't we have, what was it, last Christmas and the Christmas before? Like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, when we were still in pandemic, because what, we just came into post-pandemic like this year, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So everything's been fucked, and we've already said like shipping's been out of fucking pocket. We can't fucking keep up. Shit's all this, that, and the other ever since the government got their hands on it, man.
Yep.
Like, and people probably have been using UPS and all these private companies versus the US Postal Service because of how shitty it's been.
No, I
Like, it's
agree.
been bad the last 2 to 3 years.
Well,
So,
see,
yeah, I am not one to use USPS. I've definitely been
oh
using FedEx
hell
and other
no.
places for sure. It's
I
been
mean,
awful.
it irritates me when Amazon uses UP or just to put regular postal service.
Yes!
I mean,
Yes!
I mean,
I get mad too. I'm like, no, don't do that to me.
the only thing different with Amazon is, and the reason why FedEx is all basically independent carriers. They don't. I mean, they have a few corporate trucks, but most of their stuff is independent. It's kind of like Amazon's going to now because Amazon has, they have their company trucks, but they're also like companies can like start their own Amazon delivery service. You can even be a normal kind of like Uber type thing. You can sign up if there's enough people if there's availability in your area, you can deliver packages out of your car for FedEx or for Amazon. Um, because I was trying to sign up for that over the summer or last summer, but there was too many people already out there because like I said, post pandemic, everybody was catching up. The only difference between the 97 strike and this strike for UPS is the fact that there's more carriers out there. You got, Amazon, FedEx, Amazon really isn't. I wouldn't even really call Amazon a delivery service for the fact because they only deliver for Amazon. They're not like UPS where they pick up at your business and stuff like that. And I think they're trying to get into that because I think I've seen some things with Amazon that they're actually saying that you can ship now through Amazon. Kind of like UPS and FedEx. But I don't know exactly how that works, and I'm sure it's probably going to be a hell of a lot more costly. But yeah, the
Okay,
only
so I did real quick. I want to say that I did say that I am behind the full-time workers, but the biggest part of this is because of the part-time wage workers.
yeah,
I mean, are they working more than 32 hours a week?
most of them do.
Okay, then they
Mo-
would be considered uh they should be getting full-time.
But
But
it's the
yeah,
way they're unionized. The union is the one that controls what's part time, what's full time, and
bro, I hate unions.
yeah.
You can take
So
it back because when it comes to unions, I'm out.
I'm,
I barely understand them. I just know they do turn a lot of things to shit as well, just as bad as the
yeah.
government. So
Well,
it's kind of like a lose-lose situation, in my opinion, with them saying, "Hey, government stay out," and then government's like, but I'm kind of like at the same time, yeah, but it's the Biden
yeah,
administration. Let's not. So I'm kind of at a damn a lot of evils between each side. There's not a good side. So you know what? I'm gonna take the back door and head on out.
yeah. It's like I said. If they do go on strike, I think they said over 400,000 people are going to be suffering. No 400 or 4 million. There's like 4 million. They've got an average use of like 4 million people.
Well, Dan, when I was reading about this
And
earlier, like they just started putting fans in their fucking vehicles. Like they've been shitty to them for a while
I didn't
in
realize they were
general.
surveillance. They have camera surveillance.
Yes.
That's one of the things they're trying to get rid of is the camera surveillance inside the trucks.
I saw that too. I was like, okay, they obviously don't trust their employees. That's
No,
what
they
I'm
don't.
definitely getting off of this. And then on the other part of it, I was like, damn, they're constantly having to be surveilled. Like, that's got to be really awkward. It would definitely be awkward for the Amazon Prime folks because they step back into that little hallway and take a dump right there in that nice little grocery bag they have.
Oh yeah,
But that's man. At the same time, I really don't care because I think like for insurance purposes, to know that they're not getting on their phones and doing distracted driving if there were an accident. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So at the same time, surveillance cameras, because I think even some truck drivers have them, or some companies want truck drivers to have them, or do have them in their company
The
vehicles.
triple A company, the corporate trucks have them. The ones that you
See,
say. They're because I was talking to a triple A guy one time, and he sits there and says they're surveilled everywhere. They've got audio recordings inside the trucks. They have cameras that are posted on them, the passenger seat, and driving back and forth. They've got cameras on the outside of the trucks that surveil them. And I'm sure. The outside I can understand because it's probably for the personal safety. That way in case somebody gets hit, they have video proof of what happened.
Oh,
But
absolutely. These are big, huge trucks. As a driver yourself, you know how big these engines are. They are
yeah,
monsters. 9 times out of 10, the truck driver tends to be okay. It's the whoever got hit by the damn truck is the one hurting.
Yeah.
Whether it what one or the other, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's a poor thing. It's a really shitty thing to happen, and you don't ever want it to happen. So it's one of those things. I'm okay, especially since we did invest so much into the interstate system, and it is for truck drivers more than it is for the civilian drivers. It's really for it. By the way, if people really don't know, Taylor, history buff. Um, Understand that the interstate system is a federal interstate system that was provided for traffic in the industrial system for us to have truck drivers to have easier places and to not tear up state roads and city roads. So interstates were perfect for that and for us to get also our goods and services a lot faster. So with
Yeah.
that being said, I'm kind of okay with taking the extra precautions that we don't have an economy stop because constant wrecks are happening. Because I mean, hell, a quick insert again, because I'm a rabbit trailer. What now, truck drivers? I mean, it's even hard now to see any decent ones because there was a really bad span about 2010 to about 2015 where a lot of young guys were getting into driving and they were driving like shit and making
Well,
truck drivers look bad
well, see, and
and causing a lot of accidents.
the scary thing now is you used to have to be 21 to drive a tractor trailer over state lines. They're I think they were talking about dropping the age down to 18 because they didn't have truck drivers, and because nobody
Well,
wants
it
to be
is
a
a
truck driver
really
anymore.
good wage, and honestly, it that's hard
Depends on what
because
you
I
do.
do know, especially for being in the Southwest Missouri area, if I'm not mistaken, over in Springfield, I want to say there's a trucking school over there that's run through one of the technical colleges or community colleges over there.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I just don't understand why there's not more of that because we have had such a shortage. And I want to say I've even been past one of their parking lots where they have the kids even have to practice the tractor trailer backing up and everything, but it's in an open lot so they don't cause any damage. But they actually have a trailer attached, and I don't know if they put weights in it, etc. But no, I mean that job is a really hard one. How many people skip out on their that 20-point check or whatever it's called now? How many points y'all have? So, but with
uh,
this, how many of these UPS drivers, they don't have to have all of this. They don't
no,
even have to wear a seatbelt. Um, but the
I mean,
part-timers, this is such a weird scenario to me. Just because I mean, I have a huge belief if you're working a part-time job, you're working it part-time for a reason. It's because you don't need that much of money, you just need an extra set of money, or you're trying to do something with your spare time. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Typically. So it's like I'm kind of mm, this kind of goes back to making me feel like it's almost equivalent to saying that our economy would fall apart if all of McDonald's workers walked out.
yeah,
You feel me?
yeah. I
Because
know.
this is just because I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot of qualifications for these jobs, especially, you know what I mean, in UPS and in the part-time position. You know
No, I
what I
mean
mean?
the only qualification, like in my job, even I mean, I drive, like I said, I drive truck every day, but the only qualification of mine is just how to operate the machinery. But yeah, I mean,
Now, this also isn't a takeaway. Now, that's like my own philosophical belief. Understand that. That's my own philosophical belief as far as when it comes to work and being a citizen. But at the same time, I also understand the concept that we're also facing here that the government has had such a stronghold on us with inflation that these people feel like even their part time jobs is a waste of their fucking time. And it's not getting that extra bonus cash that the family might need. And it's
oh,
no
definitely,
longer something that you're going to because you need to spend your time because that extra spare cash is no longer spare cash. It's now necessary money because of where the economy's gone. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So it's such a catch 2020 here when it comes to my philosophy and then my personal philosophy and then what we're truly experiencing here in reality under the Biden administration. And I will always sit there and call it out as the Biden administration because I don't think it's Biden himself, it's his whole administration because he's a puppet. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So it's kind of like I just blame the whole Obama administration too. I blame the whole admin.
I mean,
It
it's
is what
yeah,
it is.
it's
They're
just
the
what it,
ones that who are trying to tell us, the American people, oh, it's okay, but it's actually not okay. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Just lying straight to our face through Jean Pierre.
Yeah, I almost think she runs the country. I really do. But
No, she's too snappy.
yeah, she's too conceited too. Thinking that she's like history. She's historical is what she called herself. But but no, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I can understand. I mean, I'm not saying that
And
they don't. I'm not saying that the UPS drivers and FedEx drivers or any delivery service, because I mean, you do have to put up with traffic. You do have to put up with angry people. You do have to put up with, the climate, the weather, cold, ice, stuff like that.
for
But
sure.
I don't know. It's. I mean, I think with today's economy, I think $22 an hour is a fair price. I think anything under, because I wouldn't, because it's my pay wage is just a little under that, but I do get a lot of overtime in, so it probably equals out to about that. And it's very hard to live, like you said. Going to the store, what used to be, pre-pandemic before everything happened was like $75 a week to 100. Yeah, I mean, it's even with us, it's like
Doubled.
$100 to. I mean, we've got animals and everything else, so you add those in. You add fuel prices in. We spend an average just to live. That's not paying utilities, just for food, gas, and food for the animals. Almost like $300 a week. I mean, it's crazy. You
That's
know,
insane.
I
That
don't.
is insane. And especially for those of us that like grew up and we used to be able to be like, oh, I got $5. I could fill up half my tank.
Exactly.
Half a fucking tank with $5 fucking. You know what I mean?
I
Full
mean,
tank was somewhere around $9 to $10 sometimes.
and it's just
And
like some of us have older vehicles, so it's just like, I mean, I put $20 to $25 a week into my tank, and
yep.
that because all I use my truck for is just back and forth to work. And usually by Friday, the low fuel light is beeping at me. So I mean, it doesn't take much, especially now that gas prices are going back up. It's it was pretty stable there for a while. Now it's going back up to 3.15 to 3.20 a gallon, depending on where you're at. But no, it's just, I mean, I can understand $22 an hour. I think is a very fair wage, and for part timers, I mean, I can understand if you're going to work the full time hours, then you should just be automatically included in the full time. But I understand why they got them at part time, because they don't have to pay in benefits at part time. And a lot of people, when they go through UPS or FedEx, it's for the benefits. It's not for the pay, really. It's for the, you get, I think it's like full insurance if you're full time. They pay full coverage insurance on you. With dental, vision, all that stuff. So, I mean, they've got a good benefit package, but I don't know.
We're
I
just gonna
mean,
have to keep up with where this goes because union fights are always fun.
yeah,
It
like I
always
said,
gets messy. It
I mean,
really always gets messy, I feel like.
like I said, I mean, they got 14 days left, and I think right now the only thing they're fighting for is to affirm the contract for the part timers, instead of because from what I understand from some of the Twitter posts and stuff like that, the full time contracts have already been agreed upon. So, but